We'll be right back.
That's fine. That gives me enough time to get the promo guy up. This is how this show should be, to tell you the truth.
It was kind of like what I say, like a digital scavenger hunt a little bit.
Yeah, right. This is exactly how it should be. I'm surprised none of my kids have come down by now.
It's going to be more and more like this, right? Facebook's now dubbed themselves the Meta. They've taken over the internet in their eyes, and things are going to change a lot.
As long as I don't got to get on Facebook. I haven't been on Facebook in forever. I don't even know how to use Facebook. All right, now I can hit it.
Facebook is staying the same, but they're changing the name of the company to Meta, right? And it's that they just announced that today. And they they own Instagram, they own WhatsApp, they own Oculus, right? So they're going to try to build a digital universe on the internet where you spend all your time, like Ready Player One, because time is money to them, right? That's their business model, so try to get you to spend more and more time. That's how they're going to do it.
So wait a minute, I missed that news. I did hear the news that they were changing the title. They were changing the name Facebook. So it's been changed to Meta?
Yeah, so Facebook is still going to be the name for that app, Facebook.
Okay.
But the name of the company is now Meta.
Interesting.
It's like Google and Alphabet.
Yeah.
I mean, and like I said, so everything's going to be under the Meta umbrella, right? So like I said, they're going to try to create their own, digital universe, essentially, where you virtually get everything.
That is insane. That is Ready Player One, which I have not finished the book yet, and
it's so good.
I know. My wife has finished it. My kids, I have 3 kids. They not the youngest, but they watched the movie. I refuse to watch the movie until I read the book, and I'm halfway through the book.
All right, yeah,
gotta finish it.
That's really good. I mean, it was one of the books that it had me like. I mean, I think I read it on 2 flights, basically, like there and back. I mean, I read it while I was flying back and forth from, Portland to Orlando weekly for several weeks in a row, during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good time to read a book.
I bet. Distract you on those flights. I'll usually, if I get on a plane, I don't like to fly. But if I do, I usually pick a movie that is the same length as my flight. So I've watched
6-hour movies though.
Right. Yeah. I don't fly that far. I usually do 3 hours. So Joker, The Dark Knight, that's usually where I'll stick.
I mean, in an ideal world, that's how I would be too. But
right.
Gotta get where the wrestling is, I guess.
That's right.
Happen to be in Orlando.
Before we get into all that, I see a Pac-Man machine behind you. Yeah. I see golden tea.
Damn.
What else can I see? Got anything else?
Well, gaming-wise, no. That's what I got.
Nice. Yeah.
I would like to get and the wife's favorite is Street Fighter, so there's potential that could make its way here to the house at some point.
We have Mrs. Pac-Man, which is over there, which is my wife's favorite. And then I don't know if you can see it because it's kind of dark back there, but right under this TV is NBA Jam, which I got for Father's Day.
Okay.
It's there somewhere.
Are yours One-Up Arcade?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, they make a nice product.
They do. Nice and solid. Phenomenal stuff. So I'm excited to have you on, and for a lot of reasons. Obviously, former WWE guy, it's great stuff. But as I delved into everything about Levi Cooper as opposed to Tucker, I got even more excited. First of all, congratulations on the new addition to your family.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's
fun stuff.
It is. Yeah, that's great stuff. I believe you have 2 children. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, a 3-year-old. Yeah, 3-year-old daughter, and now almost 1-month son.
Oh my goodness! Is he sleeping through the night?
He's not sleeping through the night, but he is doing a couple 3-hour sessions. That's good. All I could ask for.
That is
all we could ask for.
Yeah, exactly. I lucked out. My kids were sleepers, man. They slept through the night like 6 weeks in. I have 3 daughters. All 3 of them did it.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah. That's
and
awesome.
now they don't sleep.
And now they don't. You're
Now
right.
they don't, yeah.
Now they don't. Now they're crazy. Levi, they're 12, 9, and 5. And it's insane. And they're all ladies. I am outnumbered in my house. I
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
You got your little testosterone corner here. And that's about it. That's your little.
Yeah, that's how my wife got us to move. She showed me the bar.
That's all right, Yeah. Girls are fun, I mean, obviously, you got years a little older than mine, so a little maybe starting to get the little attitude or whatever.
You'll get
interestingly, so my second year in college, I was in Bakersfield, and me and this guy Thomas, we shared a room, right? Like a 250 square foot room, not big, and and there was twin 4-year-old boys, a 6-year-old, and a 9-year-old girl, and then the parents. And we were living in this basically 3-bedroom house with an office. All four of the kids were staying in the same room, and so that was kind of my early foray into, all right, I'm going to do what I want to do before I get children, because this is madness. Yeah. I mean, it's fun madness, but it's madness.
Yes. Get it all out of the way ahead of time. Yeah. So Bakersfield. So we'll jump right into your college. Why is the sound on my phone? It's never on. I don't want people to call me. Arizona State.
Yeah.
A lot of great things happened at Arizona State for you. You met your lovely wife.
Yep.
Who I learned was also an athlete.
That's right.
What did she play?
So, she was a track and field athlete.
Okay.
She threw the hammer in college.
Nice.
But she was actually a sprinter, and a very good sprinter. She was one of the best. Well, she won, her junior year, she won the state title in California in the 100-meter dash. And then her senior year, she had a, hamstring injury, typical, running injury that happens. It was pretty bad, enough that it kind of cost her a step. And so she went to Arizona State trying to do that, and walked on. And the throwing coach came over and was like, hey, I think you're big and explosive. And, look at this. Do you want to try and throw the hammer for me? She was like, all right. So she changed, and that's what she did for 4 years.
Nice.
There. So pretty cool.
That's badass.
Yeah.
And my wife, not very athletic, but anyways, that's a different story. You yourself, football, track, wrestling, Arizona State. That's where my journey with you in prepping for this show started. Division I heavyweight wrestler. What's the biggest thing that you took away from Arizona State?
Oh man. I mean, personally, the biggest thing was my first year there, Ben Askren was a coach there. Okay. And I don't know if you know who that is or not, but yeah.
I didn't know. I know him. I didn't know he was a coach.
So that was his last year coaching before he kind of started fighting full time, and then now he's a kids coach. But anyways, so it was 2011, and man, just getting to learn from him. And the biggest takeaway I got from him was really I guess I wouldn't have articulated it like that now, but it's okay, there's 2 ways to solve a problem. You can either dig in, which means do the same things you've been doing, but do more of them, do them harder. Or once that stops working, then you have to innovate, right? You have to try to either look at the ways other people solve the problem, try to find a new way for you to solve the problem, right? Whatever. And then the way to do that is okay, figure out what that is, and then start chipping away at it systematically day by day. And that is essentially what I would describe as a growth mindset, learning process, essentially, right? And that's just something that I use, have always used in sort of anything that I've wanted to, try and get better at, right? It's okay, what am I trying to do? What, where am I now? And, write those things down, and then kind of start to formulate the bridge between the two of them and chip them off, right? So, I would say that kind of process was, was something I learned then. And like I said, I've been able to like articulate it much better, learn more about like how I operate and fine tune it. But that was really the guy that first year to kind of teach me that. And that was, I would say a profound moment in my life, because that's obviously, like I said, something that I use on a daily basis to, as a process.
Yeah. I also learned, and that's stuff that sticks with you. Like you can use that in wrestling, you can use that in life. Just like you said, daily living. Something else I noticed recently on this show, we had Grizzly Cal. Yeah, Cal Bishop from NXT. Were you guys in NXT at the same time?
We were, for probably I don't know, maybe a year.
A year?
Maybe, year and a half, maybe.
You guys had
Can't remember exactly, but yeah.
Had some encounters on the collegiate level.
We did, 3 of them.
Okay, so I know of 2 of them. I know that you upset him and beat him.
Yep.
And then he got his revenge, I guess, in wrestling terms.
He did, yeah.
And got the upper hand. But the third one, I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
What happened in the third?
Like he beat me as well, yeah. Yep. Sad to say.
It is sad to say.
I'm trying to remember where the third one was. I'm pretty sure it was at a duel, I'm thinking. And then the one that hurt the worst was that year that I upset him, then I lost him in the Pac-12 finals.
Yeah.
That sucked. Yeah.
And that was so that was the 2 I had. I had when you upset him and then he ended up beating you in the finals. So I hate to bring that up.
No, it's okay. It's how it goes, man. It's part of the game,
Yeah.
I think, I guess another kind of piece of that like process that I was talking about is, not looking at success and failures as like this finite thing, but just ways to, look at the positive or negative things in sort of your process and make changes if necessary, right? Like, to me, you're only a failure if you don't try again, right? Otherwise, it's just a learning a lesson. So, it's kind of that like attitude that it's not perfect attitude by any means, but like that's what I really try to, embody, I guess I could say.
Right. So that's probably where Gerald, the great Jerry Briscoe, stumbled upon both of you, because he recruited yourself.
Yes, he did. Yeah, both of us. He was. He kind of had a dream job for him. He basically got paid to attend all the best wrestling. To find people to potentially be pro wrestlers, and it's like, okay, like meld your 2 most best loves of life, and like now you're getting paid to go travel around and watch all the best wrestling you can. Pretty cool,
Yeah. That'd be great.
So, it was, he's a good dude. Love Jerry Briscoe.
Yeah, he's doing some great stuff. He's a legend in his own right, and I think going to recruit and get those collegiate wrestlers that have that grappling background is key to wrestling these days. I don't think we see enough of it. I know that we just saw Gable Stevenson get signed with them. So that's
exciting.
That's exciting stuff. What's the transition like from amateur collegiate wrestling to, NXT, the Performance Center?
I guess physically it's, like you're learning new ways to move your body, but I would say like most people that, especially if you were like you wrestled in college, so presumably you wrestled for 10 years or more, you have a pretty good, what I would say, like kind of just kinetic body awareness, right? Like you could look at somebody's position and you could kind of mimic that position with your body. So you got to learn new movements, but not too difficult to do that really with a few repetitions, because if someone's taking the time to really show you those things, it's the show business side that is the, difference, right? Like I would say probably the main difference is like for me anyways, when I was wrestling at my highest level, I was like super internal, very focused on just the task at hand. Like, and it would be like a minute task at hand, right? Like trying to win this little hand fight battle or something that's like going to be maybe the key to the match. It's a heavyweight match and be one takedown. Like, you know, I got to circle this way, try to do so. Whereas in pro wrestling, you need to be taking in all of your surroundings. If you're doing it at the best level, you know, then you're soaking in what's happening, and ultimately that's influencing your decision-making process a little bit if, you know, when done correctly.
Yeah. Were you a wrestling fan growing up? Did you ever have, dreams is a cliche word, but did you ever have visions of being a professional wrestler? You know, WWE stuff?
A little bit here and there, but it wasn't like, you know, maybe, I mean, middle school was the time when I had watched the most wrestling and kind of, you know, and then it was just kind of like something that, you know, we watched. And that was, I mean, I was in middle school during the Attitude Era. So, you know, wrestling was awesome and
yeah,
it was on all the time. And we never really had it at my house, but a couple of my buddies had it and I would go over there and watch it with them, you know, weekly or whatever. And then I would say, like, once I got into high school, I got pretty serious about trying to play. I knew I wanted to play sports in college, so I got pretty serious about it. Like, that was kind of where my mind was at and where I spent my time, you know, in most occasions, at school and sports. So, you know, it wasn't like a big dream of mine, but it was definitely the best. Like, it was a cool opportunity, and I was excited to have the chance to do it. You know, I was like, it was about a month between when I had maybe a little more, 5 weeks between when I had my tryout, when I ultimately got called to get hired, you know, and I was, man, like, you know, I thought I was going to get hired because I had a pretty good tryout. Like, but you know, I was like, man, I really want to do this. I graduated from college, I have an accounting degree.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was in a few discussions to just, you know, where either a couple corporations and then one of the big four, accounting firms. You know, I hadn't got like all the way through the like interview process, but I had begun the interview process and had scheduled some interviews for myself during that summer. Because I actually got hired on my birthday, my 23rd birthday, July 24th, and so, you know, which was a cool thing. I was like, I actually missed the phone call the first time. Canyon Steven called me. He was like, I was in an arcade playing pinball with my mom and my now wife, and just having a good time, like having a few beers. And I was like, oh, dude, I missed the 203 call. Like, probably should go like make this phone call.
Probably should go get probably should stop getting high score in this what pinball game were you playing?
Oh man, there was a lot of them there. Usually, like, I always play the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles pinball machine when I'm there. Star Wars one and the Indiana Jones one. So those are my top three there. So I'm not sure, but I'm sure it was one of those three.
We did mention One Up earlier, Arcade One Up. Big shout out to them. They do make pinball machines. Have you ever played one of their pinball machines?
I haven't actually. No.
I played their. Oh gosh, if I'm wrong on this, I'm gonna look bad. I think it was a Star Wars one.
Okay.
At PAX East, which is like a really geeky conference, a little.
Yeah.
So I did play it there as well. It's a lot of fun. It's not the same as like an original pinball game, but still, it scratches that itch for sure. Elvira is my favorite pinball game. I don't know if you've ever played it. Probably
What's that?
Elvira. You know, the Halloween lady, like.
Yeah.
You know, Elvira. It was at our local rec center.
Yeah.
And I played
it's all about nostalgia, right?
All nostalgia. And I want to get one, but you can't buy it, and you can't buy it unless it's a real one. My wife will not fork over the money for that.
They're expensive, man.
Oh my Lord.
They're no joke.
For sure.
My grandpa actually had one. It was like, I don't know. It had like Zeus on it, a guy like holding a lightning bolt in the middle of it. It was a legit pinball machine. It was big. They had like pretty decent property or whatever. And I remember playing that with my grandpa. It was fun. He probably got it on trade. He was in the radio business for a long time, so he did like that was how he was just a hustler basically in the radio business, like the 60s and 70s, 80s.
Back in the day, that's exactly how you survived. You hustled.
Yeah.
So okay. So you're big collegiate wrestler. Get your accounting degree. You have sights on that. Gerald Briscoe comes. You take that opportunity. It's a way to continue at your athletics. We all know the story of Tucker. We all know the story of Otis. I think you guys' first match. I think you guys were heels actually. Your first match.
Very first one. Yep.
Very
Only
first
time.
one.
Well, yeah. Yep. Very first one against TM61.
TM61. Oh my.
The mighty don't kneel.
I think they're all. Those are the Australian.
Australia.
Right?
Now Shane Thorne in WWE.
That's right.
And Mad Mikey Nichols is wrestling in Australia. Good brothers. Love those guys.
They flipped the script quickly though on Heavy Machinery from heels to faces. We don't need to go down that rabbit hole so much because I don't really want to spend that much time on it because I don't care. That's how things happen.
I'll just say one thing about it. That's my brother for life. I love that dude to the maximum. I only ever want the best for him. I can't imagine ever having a better time in wrestling ring than the times that I had with him.
With Otis?
And with Otis,
yeah.
With Doze.
Yeah.
Big old Nikola Bogoyevich. And, I think ultimately things may bring us back together down the road, who knows? But, I talk to that brother every day. He's a real brother of mine. Well, you never know. I mean, it's, for me,
it is
I
pro
don't have
wrestling. You're right.
WWE because, I don't have any interest doing that again. But, I do want to make sure that it's out in the universe that, I love that guy and I want nothing but the best for him.
You don't have to say it, but I'm going to say it. I'll go on the record. I believe that the WWE dropped the ball on Heavy Machinery, on the Otis, Mandy, Tucker, split, heels, storyline. There was depth there, and it never got a chance to play out. And I'll go on the record. I'll say it. I mean, you hit him in the head with a briefcase, ruined his chances of a world title, and nothing came from it.
Yeah, he doesn't even kick my ass. He doesn't, That's what I say. If you guys are going to fire me, at least have him kick my ass.
On the way out, right?
Not doing anyone any good. His brother, 3 years, hits him over, like you said, It's
ridiculous.
Shit, dude, just have him kick my ass. It's not that hard of a thing. And then, the Mandy thing also is just, the frustrating thing with that was, like you said, I think there was some investment, and particularly investment outside of maybe normal wrestling circles, and it was a good story, a story that had been told well, and you put a lot of time and effort into all the people in that story. Put a lot of time and effort into that story, and from the writers down producers, people who were in it, everyone, and we all were invested in it as much as the fans were, and so to have it have essentially no payoff whatsoever, in any semblance of a real world, a guy like Otis would just let Mandy go and without any emotion whatsoever. It's insulting.
I think
to the audience.
I think the WWE thinks the audience does not have memory. I think they think we're stupid and we don't remember things.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, there's just everything, because it's this crazy, bubble essentially that it really just operates on a week-to-week basis, and sometimes the long term is really thrown out just in the name of surviving that week, I guess would be the way to put it, which is disappointing, but I mean, it is what it is, I guess. Like you said, it's there's a lot of really good, hardworking men and women all over that company. And ultimately, it's not as good as it could be for a couple reasons. And I think everyone knows what those reasons are. It's not like it's some big secret.
Right.
It's just that those reasons are, you can't speak out against those reasons, or, it's conflict of interest.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is, right? It's disappointing because, everyone knows it could be better, right? Yes. It's it could be so much better. Why not just make it better? It's not me. It's just empower your talent. So like, and not just your very top guys. Like, give some creative leeway to, you know, some other people. Like, who knows? Maybe you'll get some more New Days if you let that happen.
Exactly. Give creative freedom to the mid card. Give creative freedom to the tag team division.
These guys want it, you know. Just like give them a shot. You know, don't take away everything, every creative outlet. Just stifle them. You know, which feels like sometimes, and that's, you know, I mean, it is what it is, right? That it's corporate America to some extent. You like, hey, look, they have massive corporate partnerships. They have to protect their interests. I understand all these things. Like, it's not. I'm not bitter about it. It is what it is, right? It's like, okay, hey, you are now a giant company, right? Or, I mean, you're at least a mid cap company. Like, you're a $5+ billion company with shareholders to answer to. So you're playing a different game than just the wrestling business. Like, it's a different level of stuff, and that ultimately dictates a lot of what happens, right? Yeah. For good or bad.
And you brought up WrestleMania there, and that was the first WrestleMania during, I guess, the pandemic, and that storyline, the Heavy Machinery, Otis, Tucker, Mandy storyline, that WrestleMania was literally the only thing, I'll speak for myself, the only thing I was invested in. It was it night one? That was a 2-night WrestleMania, I believe.
It was supposed to be night 2, and then we got a call at like 2:00. I need you guys to come right now, do this like thing or whatever. So it was, you know, it didn't feel like WrestleMania. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't even part of it,
but a couple other things that I'll bring up just about the WWE stuff, and then I want to move on a little bit. One, the draft. Did you learn about being split up from Otis and Heavy Machinery on social media?
No, I found out that day at TV.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know, 5:00, something like that. 4:30, 5:00.
Did you have a feeling that was the end of Heavy Machinery, or what was the deal there?
Yeah, I mean, I watch. You know, when I was part of the company, I watched as much as I could, paid attention. So, like, I've seen this song and dance before. Right. You know.
Yep.
It's not, and to some degree, like, I mean, once I hit him in the head with the briefcase, and then nothing happened that next Monday, and then the next Monday after that, I lose to Ricochet. Like, you know, I know it's okay. Like, it's just a matter of time for me at this point. Like, I've seen this song and dance before. You know, hey, if they thought that I was good enough to do something, then like the split wouldn't have happened that way, right? Because there's a chance for me to have momentum coming out of that, and we totally waste it. There's nothing. Hey, like, I'm not so stupid that I don't understand what's going to happen here, right? Like, it is what it is. And, you know, I mean, ultimately that's the decisions they got to make, right? They're, you know, it's what have you done for me lately? Who's up next? Kind of. And for whatever reason, it seems they don't think tag teams really draw money.
Yeah.
By the way that they kind of treat them. I don't know if that, like, I don't know that that's true. That's just my speculation of mine, but it kind of bears sense if you look at the way that kind of just teams are booked in general. Like, you know, this maybe I shouldn't say 9 times out of 10, but 2/3 of the time, probably within 2 years of a tag team coming up, they're looking to split them up to see whoever's the single star, and maybe they're looking out for the other guy, but maybe not. Maybe they're just throwing him to the wolves.
I agree with you as well. I don't think Vince has ever put any effort, any investment into the tag team division. I mean, yeah, you had the Dudleys, Hardys, and Edge and Christian in the 90s, but I don't think Vince had anything to do with that personally. I'm
sure he was mostly doing Austin storylines, you know, or Triple H story, or just faction stuff, right? I mean, that was, from everything you hear, that was a big difference in the company then. It was like, well, Vince was so involved in actually being on TV as part of the show that, like, he wasn't around to manage every segment, right? And kind of have his fingerprints on every segment. And that's the case now, is he has his fingerprints on essentially every segment that goes on TV has to get run across his desk. And Yeah, I mean that's a big primary difference, right? Like you said, it's because you had those guys who were like, all right, well, we see all these single guys killing it, we want to kill it too, like let's do it, right? And there's stories of those guys like going and hiding in the hallway to putting a match together, just like, nah, we're doing it like this, you know? And that's like, that's what you need. I mean, that's if you want to have, but like I said, now then they were a private company. Now they're a corporate thing public, that they just can't push the envelope in the same way. It's too risky for their bottom line.
Last thing on the WWE, I heard you mention on another podcast. I don't know. I apologize. Wrestling Inc. I don't know which one it was, but you said that there was talks about you going to Raw Underground, which I was a huge fan of. Raw Underground. I think with your collegiate amateur grappling, kick somebody's ass background, you would have fit perfectly.
Yeah, I think that was the plan ultimately, but essentially, like in kind of typical fashion, this draft happens, but they haven't sewed up the other stories yet. So we still have so me and Otis still have to be together. Yeah. Right, so we do the El Gran Gordo thing. We're together for like another 2. We're doing both brands after the draft. And it's like, are they together or aren't they? And we can't get any answers. It's just, well, this sucks, dude. Like, and yeah, so it was kind of madness at that time as I like look back on it, and trying to sort of like kind of piece together what was going on, but not really knowing, and not kind of being around it enough to really understand and like know exactly where to go and what, how to navigate all those waters. I ultimately made some mistakes in that time frame, but basically I think Raw Underground was scrapped during that time period, and so then there was just, then I was put into the 24/7 picture. I mean, there's a lot of talent around, and like if you're not in a story, it's not that easy to get like just plugged right into a story. And so I think it just kind of, I would have liked to have had a chance to do Raw Underground. I think I could have had a chance to, I didn't do a good enough job of kind of highlighting my amateur wrestling background as kind of like something that I really could have steadfastly relied on as a member of Heavy Machinery. That was a mistake of mine. I wish I would have, I shouldn't say wish, but like if I could go back and do it again, that's probably something in hindsight that I would try to make like a really foundational level of my character. And so I think Raw Underground would have been a chance to do that potentially, even with a few weeks worth of it, just being able to like execute moves that look, legit because they are. And I thought it was a cool premise to Raw Underground, but I was kind of like, after I saw it for a few weeks, was like, okay, well, you need a prize. Like, I don't want there to be a belt, but there needs to be some kind of like, right. I mean, ultimately to have a good story, you need something for the protagonist and antagonist to clash over, at least in a sense of wrestling. Yeah. So, I mean, just them fighting each other for like, the good graces of Shane McMahon, like that's okay for a few weeks, and especially if there's like a payoff to that, they get a chance to wrestle for a title on TV or some different thing, but it never ultimately panned out into any of that kind of stuff, and I think that was like why it fell flat.
You said, you mentioned you made some mistakes. I feel, moving on, I know you just had a new, it's a boy, right? Baby boy.
Yep.
Right? 1 month old. You're not going to be getting back in the ring anytime soon, at least by my calculations. So maybe 2022, get things settled. You're getting your mind right. You're being a better human being. Are you learning from those mistakes? Are you going back to your roots? Are you going to kick some people's asses?
Yeah, definitely. As I kind of think about like, well, I guess there's kind of a few pieces to that question. I'll say first off, in terms of kind of working on myself, I've done a lot of that. A lot of reading, which I always did, but I've done more. I stopped lifting weights for, I don't know, at least 8 months now. and have been doing DDPY and other forms of just traditional yoga, yin yoga, hatha yoga, vinyasa yoga on a like daily basis, essentially, which was sort of like, I needed to do that for my body, right? But then I realized just how much it helped my mind. And, you know, as I was kind of doing this, right, it's very meditative. You start to have just like whatever it is inundating your brain and kind of unplugging from social media, unplugging from whatever, and listening to the voice that's inside of your head. You know, I realized that I was pretty negative on myself. And so I've been working on negative self-talk a lot, right? And I've now tried to say every day, like, I don't need to work on shit talking myself. I'm good enough at that. I need to work on telling myself, hey, you're doing good at this or that or whatever the case may be. And then like you criticizing yourself comes naturally, basically, is like my point, right?
Yeah. Positive self-talk.
And then, positive self-talk. Celebrating small victories. You know, I'm not saying to like love mediocrity, but right, like, just take a tally on the ways that you did get better. If you're trying to achieve a goal, okay, at the end of the day, did I get better at my goal? If the answer is no, then like tomorrow, better get better, right? But if the answer is like, okay, I did this, that, and this, I could have done these other things, but it's okay that I didn't. I did these. Like, I'm gonna get a good night's sleep. I'm gonna wake up tomorrow. I'm gonna knock some more stuff off my checklist. You know, and another piece of that has just been, for a long time, right, like the defining characteristic of Levi Cooper would be wrestler, right? Like, especially since the beginning of college, all the way through my 20s, basically all the way through my 20s, you know, even starting in my teens. Because I graduated high school at 17. So I was like just a baby 18-year-old when I started as a true freshman at Portland State. So I learned hard lessons, boom, boom, 2 years in a row, because Portland State and Bakersfield, they both dropped their wrestling programs. They were both Division I programs in the Pac-10, now the Pac-12. And so I was at, you know, Portland State my freshman year. Then I redshirted in Bakersfield. Then I had 3 years at Arizona State. And like those moves helped me like be really gritty and helped me learn a lot of stuff about betting on myself and these lessons. But then ultimately, like when I became a father and a husband, some of these defining characteristics, especially where I was getting my self-esteem from, I realized that's not serving me anymore. I need to make a pivot. Like, I need to make a change in my life. I need to like really take my self-esteem from my process of being a good dad, being a good husband, and, you know, then like wrestler or whatever other things I want to work on. Like, it can come after those. I can still work really hard on those things. I don't need to define myself by those things anymore. Like, you know, it's been a big shift for me mentally. And I think it's helped me out a lot. You know, I think it's helped me just really take inventory of what's super important. You know, I was lucky enough to have really great parents who spent a lot of time with me. And I thought about how much that time really mattered to me and how much that time is going to matter to my kids. And, you know, ultimately try to find ways to like fulfill the things that I need, but still kind of figure out ways to do them where I'm not sacrificing, you know, those other things. And that's a big change in my decision-making process, right? Because like I said, through my 20s, like I was pretty much just, and my wife, God bless her, was like, hey, I'm with you, you know, I'm riding with you. And I'm like, all right, well, like, I'm doing this and I'm doing it. Like, you know, and so now I'm like, okay, it's time for like me to figure out how we're going to do this, you know.
Well said. I to we. Well done. And I couldn't say that better myself. Just a positive self-talk and the yoga, getting your mind right, DDPY, all that stuff's great. I preach that. In my shoot job, I'm a behavioral analyst for like school-age kids.
Oh, okay, yeah. My wife is a special education, you know. She was
awesome.
She was elementary school. She actually has she's a district level job now. She just started. Well, she started for a little bit. Now she's obviously on leave and will, but she's working in the equity department in her, in her, like I said, district office, which Evergreen, where we live, is a pretty big district. So she's excited about that. Yeah.
And in that,
respect to the educators.
In that genre, it's like you said, it's very easy to talk bad and negative. and shit talk yourself. And the positive self-talk goes a long way, no matter what it is. Like you said, short achievements, big achievements, it does not matter. You know, put yourself over when you can. No pun intended.
Yeah. I've actually, like, I don't know. Have you read the book Growth by Carol Dweck? Have you heard of that book before?
No, but I'm gonna type it down. Growth by Carol who?
Dweck, D-W-E-C-K. I'm on the very last chapter of it right now. Basically, like, the whole book is about fixed mindset and growth mindset and how those two, like, basis manifest themselves in, like, really positive or negative ways in your life. And it's like, it helped just kind of, like, really put in line some things that I've kind of seen or thought, right? Especially if I go back to, like, Ben Askren stuff and some of the things that he taught me or whatever, and just looking at, like, you know, how, I mean, I think about, right, as a parent, it's like, you have to learn how to be a parent, right? You have to accept, like, you can't just think, like, which a fixed mindset would be like, I'm as good of a parent as I'm going to be. And so, like, the successes and failures of my kids are a direct kind of representation of me, right? Versus, like, we're learning together, and, like, I'm going to teach them how to grow, how to actually learn. And sometimes that requires me, you know, looking in the mirror and be like, okay, like, you know, what am I trying to achieve here? Like, and how am I going to do with Pat? At least, like, what do I really want, right? As a parent, like, got to ask yourself that question sometimes. Like,
every day.
Do I want to be right, or do I want to actually solve the problem?
Exactly. Oh, man. Yeah. You have so much to look forward to.
Oh, yeah, I would imagine.
Oh, it's great stuff. Levi, I have a whole sheet of stuff we could talk about the rest of the night, but I'm gonna keep that on the table for when you come back, because you will come back, because I think you're a great human, and I think we've had fun tonight. So I think you'll be back.
Yeah, I would agree with that statement 100%.
We won't talk about Chelsea and how they're not very good at
Oh,
soccer.
yeah, well, you guys look very good. I will say that. Yeah, you worry me based on. Although, I mean, shredding Man U for 5 is, like, not giving up a goal is nice,
right? But
let's be honest. Like, I think a lot of teams could shred them for 4 or 5.
Yes,
the way that they're playing in the back right now.
But it is fun. It is fun to do.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, yeah, Liverpool's a very complete team. Yes. Like, I'm more scared of you guys than I am of City. Ultimately, I would say.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're not good. You know, I think.
No, you guys are good.
We need to get a healthy striker, though. We got a lot of injuries. I don't know what they're doing on the training pitch, but they need to. I don't know. The schedule is always just so daunting. Like, you look at it, it's like, man, these guys play a lot, and they run a lot. They play a lot of matches. Like, I have a lot of respect for those guys.
And they got that. They have the English Premier League. They have the national team. I mean, it's never ending. There's no off season in soccer.
No, basically not. Yeah, not if you're at the top level, right? Like you said, if you're playing for one of the big clubs, you're playing in all the cups, you're playing in the league, and you're playing for your national team. Yeah, dude, you're getting like a month off a year, maybe.
But anyways, Levi, at the end of every show, I'm going to give you the microphone. We've been putting your links in the chat, but I'm going to give you this time. Put yourself over. Plug anything you want. You can bury anything you want. You can tell us anything you want. I don't care. I will not interrupt. The floor is yours.
All right. Well, 2 things I'm working on that they may not come out in one of them will come out in the next probably month. One of them is a longer term project. But I'm working with another guy on a mental health guide, and we've been, writing down a lot of stuff and just basically trying to, like, the process I'm trying to create for people is like a 60 to 90 minutes that they could do. You could split that up into 45 and 45, where, like, you're going to get a lot of what you would need daily to have a healthy body and healthy mind in that 60 and 90 minutes, and try to teach people routines, so that ultimately they could learn it and do it themselves and find ways to implement it in their lives. And, I just think that's especially as I look around America and just, hey, dude, like, how much could you benefit from, like, drinking water in the morning and taking a 30-minute walk outside, like doing the fundamentals correctly, they're fundamentals for a reason. So that's something that I think I have a lot of passion about. I'm excited about, working on putting some of that information out into the world. And then I'm working with another guy, and I think we're going to put out a Thanksgiving episode as our first one on a pellet grill recipe web series, 3 to 5 minute videos, hopefully. So we'll take you through the whole way to make the most delicious smoked Thanksgiving turkey that you ever had in your entire life on your pellet grill. And I love barbecuing, and I've long thought of trying to put together some actual cooking shows and information, and thinking about how that would go down. So I'm really excited about having the chance to put that content out and seeing where it goes. So those are kind of 2 projects that are near and dear. I will probably wrestle a couple times in 2022. I'm not going to take a cajillion bookings, but here and there, I want to wrestle. I want to particularly explore, and figure out who exactly Levi Cooper is in the wrestling ring. That's my goal. That's what I'm trying to attain. If I say that cliche wise, I'm building a house, the foundation of the house is wrestling, right? Amateur wrestling in particular. That's given me kind of my physical and mental tools that I've used for my entire life. So that's going to be the foundation of my character. And then as I've been, doing the yoga and kind of meditating, I've been thinking about maybe trying to call myself force of nature, or at least working with the concept of like how nature is this very serene, peaceful place when it needs to be, and so calm and tranquil. But then, within the flash of an eye, it turns to this like extremely violent force that's capable of a lot of destruction, right? Some kind of that dichotomy, right? That's kind of the next layer. And so I think that's a good basis for a wrestling character. And that's ultimately going to be the character that I'm going to try to explore. And, pretty excited about that as well, even though that's not going to be like my main goal, right? I'm not trying to make money in wrestling. I'm just trying to figure that out. And that actually really excites me, because for a long time, I was just doing it for money, doing it for maybe different reasons and came to really love and appreciate the artistic side of it. And so I'm excited to have the freedom to, fall flat on my face if necessary and really explore creatively.
Spectacular. Love it. Love it all. Force of nature, the storm, whatever the case may be, I get it. Flick that switch. Go kick some ass. The cooking stuff, I didn't even touch on that tonight. I wanted to ask you what I should bake for my kids this weekend.
It's fall time. A good pumpkin bread. Yeah, it's pretty easy. Yeah. Nice, not too difficult. Just throw all the ingredients in a bowl, mix them up, toss them in a bread pan, put it in the oven for an hour. It's good to go. Great. Delicious.
All great stuff. I look forward to you coming back. I love the mental health, getting your mind and body right. I want to see what you got in store for us. So the door is open, Levi. You can come back anytime you want.
Yeah, appreciate you. It was a blast, man. Had a great time.
Yeah, for sure. Tell your wife I said thank you also for donating you tonight to us. So
absolutely.
Go have some fun with your kids, and we'll talk to you soon.
Will do. Yeah. Go Chelsea.
Oh, Derry, have a good night.